Welcome, Warriors, to this lesson in baseball. This is lesson number 4, and it is a lesson that the seniors in our program already have familiarity with, our bunt defense video. So, they saw it when they were freshmen, 2018, and they're going to see it again. Good refresher for them, and very important for everybody in our program. When you watch the video, recognize what your position is and pay particular attention to what your responsibilities are in our bunt defenses. If you don't know what your position is, just text me and I'll tell you. By now, you probably have an understanding, and maybe 2 or 3, at max 3 positions that you may be playing, such as Alvarado, who plays catcher, first base, and third base. So, again, if you don't know, just let me know and I'll tell you. There hasn't been any changes really to this, except one in our bunt 2 defense, which is a pickoff at second base. The third baseman does not yell bunt, bunt, bunt. It's only the first baseman that yells bunt, bunt, bunt. And you yell bunt, bunt, bunt to let the pitcher know that our shortstop has cleared space away from the runner at second. You'll understand this a little bit better when you see that defense coming up. And then after that, I will go over a few points in how we expect to defend the safety squeeze or the suicide squeeze. Okay. And we had some issues with that in some big games in the past. And so we want you guys to be cognizant of how to defend, how we intend to defend the suicide squeeze or safety squeeze this season. So, with that being said, let's get into this video, and then I'll talk to you briefly, and then we'll get into how to defend the squeeze. All right, here we go.
Coach Bonfiglio here, going over our bunt defense system. We operate what's called a modified bunt priority system. Some teams, some programs run a third system. Some teams run a traditional priority system. We run a modified bunt priority system. We also need to know that we want our corner infielders to be well in on the grass, very aggressive in their initial positioning. We're trying to avoid players from having to throw on the run or having to throw rushed. Get your feet underneath you and make a good, strong, accurate throw. Okay, bunt defense number 1. The priority system is third baseman over pitcher, pitcher over first baseman, catcher over everyone. Third baseman is set up in this diagram behind the base path, and you will set up there until the opposing coach finishes his signs. Okay, as soon as the opposing coach finishes giving his signs, he moves in on the grass 2 or 3 strides. Pitchers need to make sure that the third baseman is where he's supposed to be before they throw the ball. Third baseman charges home when he sees the hitter show bunt. Got to be looking at his hands, but also his feet as well, which could tip him off. First baseman is playing off the line in front of the first cut, off the line 10 strides, no matter if it's a left-handed hitter or a right-handed hitter. He's not sprinting towards the plate. He will be jogging, getting a read. Any balls that are bunted hard towards first, he will field the ball and flip or toss the ball over to the second baseman covering at first. The pitcher fields the ball. First baseman retreats back to first, and the pitcher will throw the ball to the first baseman. Pitchers, if the ball is fielded tight to the line, throw the ball over the runner's left shoulder. Okay? Second baseman playing equidistant between first and second, but a stride or 2 behind the base path. Second baseman will be moving over towards first after the hitter shows bunt and the pitch is in flight. Very important. Pitch needs to be in flight. Second baseman, don't just sprint over to first. With your head down. Okay, look in, make sure he doesn't bunt slash. Okay, Shortstop, you'll be covering all the throws at second. You'll be moving towards second base after every pitch crosses the plate. Just because we have a bunt defense on doesn't mean they're not going to steal. Shortstop gets all the throws. Move on to bunt defense number 3. I'm not going to go in chronological order here. I'll try to explain it a little bit. Again, third baseman is set up near the base path. Excuse me. And he will move in on the grass after the opposing coach goes through his signs. Third baseman is looking at the shortstop. Third baseman will charge home when the shortstop starts to move towards third. First baseman looking at the shortstop. First baseman will charge home when the shortstop starts to move to third. Pitcher staring at the shortstop. Pitcher will pitch when the shortstop gains separation or away from the runner, just a little bit. Okay? Second baseman still equidistant between first and second, but in this scenario, he only needs to start moving over towards first when the hitter shows bunt. He no longer needs to wait until the pitch point. Again, keep your head up. Now, here's the modification in our bunt hierarchy. We have our first baseman now higher in the hierarchy over the third baseman and pitcher. And the catcher still has the highest of priorities. All right. This is particularly important if we have a left-handed throwing first baseman. We're trying to get the runner out at third. That's the purpose of this drill. The purpose of this bunt defense. Okay. All right. Now, let's take a look at bunt defense number 2, which is a pickoff play at second base.
Okay, the third baseman is looking at the shortstop and the runner at second. He's making sure the runner doesn't sprint ahead of the shortstop to third base. He's listening for the first baseman. The first baseman's going to yell bunt, bunt, bunt. The third baseman's going to sprint to home plate when he does that. And the pitcher, upon hearing the first baseman yell bunt the first of the 3 times, is going to make an inside move towards second. So the pitcher, unlike the 3 play where he's looking at the shortstop, is now looking at the catcher. Okay, and upon hearing the first baseman audibly yell bunt, he makes his move.
Second baseman is no longer playing equidistant. He's now shaded towards second base bag. Pitchers need to lift their knee high on an inside move, put their chin down towards their knee, and go slowly in one continuous motion towards second base when you throw the ball. All right? When we think about our bunt defense, so you have bunt defense number 2, you're going to second base. Bunt defense number 3 should be going to third base. And bunt defense number 1, which is a standard play, will take the out, should be towards first base. Catchers, anytime you see the pitcher doing something wrong in terms of where he should be looking, get up, call time, stop the play.
Okay, so that's our bunt defenses. Again, reiterate, it's important. The 3 play, we're trying to get the out at third. The 2 play, we're trying to get the out at second. Now, pitchers have got to go slow, knee up, chin down anytime they do the inside move. Very important. In the 1 play, we're trying to get the out at first. Okay, so it's important that we back up first base on throws. It's important that our second baseman is moving over towards first, receiving the ball on the inside edge. Same thing with the first baseman. If the ball's bunted right near home plate or down the line, the pitcher picks the ball up. Remember, he's throwing over the runner's left shoulder. He's got to be positioned like this rather than straddling here like he's getting a throw from across the diamond. Always inside when it's tight down the line. So those are our bunt defenses. In terms of when we have the 3 play on and we're trying to get that out at third, we've got to know, is it a force or is it a tag? It's a force if there's runners at first and second, and it's a tag if there's runners at second only, or a runner at second only. So that's important to know. We've got to understand we've got to have an understanding of distance. No one outruns the baseball, okay? If the runner isn't at least halfway towards third, we're going to have a play on him, okay? Probably he's got to be more than 3/4 of the way to third base for us to not be able to throw hard to third base to get him, particularly when it's a force play. Okay, no one outruns the baseball. Baseball's faster than everybody, and it'll get there, and we'll get the out, and we'll get the out. Okay, so it's very important. So that's our bunt defense right there. Let's quickly just run down a few notes on ways in which we intend on stopping the squeeze play. Okay, here we go. Okay, ways to defend the squeeze. 1, pitch up out of the zone. So you're not in the strike zone, but you don't want to go way too high so that we're throwing over the catcher's head. Okay, we want to be like neck height. Pitchers should be throwing the ball neck height when the hitter is in a bunting position. So probably like letters, or maybe a little higher than letters in his regular stance. High pitch is a tough pitch to bunt down. We're hoping for a pop-up and a double play. Okay, but you can't take this approach with the bases loaded and 3 balls. You'd walk that runner in, and we're not looking to do that either. So we're also not going to take this approach if there's no sign that the opposing team wants to bunt. So, 2 pitches go by and they're not even showing bunt, then, we're going to start to attack the zone. Number 2, keep third baseman tethered to third base, throw over twice. So technically, the third baseman has to be at the bag when the right-handed pitcher goes to leg lift and throws over to third base. He's got to be at the bag. If he's not, then it's a balk. Okay, so we got to put the third baseman literally at the bag. We throw over twice. On the third pitch, the pitcher throws to the plate, but the third baseman starts at the bag. And then he can start to side shuffle on the pitch. Okay? Little note, Colin gets to stand at third base. Yay. So that's a reference to Colin Brown, who just loves to stand at third. So here's your opportunity, your only opportunity, Colin. 3, bring same side infielder way in. So if there's a left-handed hitter up, our second baseman will stand between the pitcher and first base. If there's a right-handed hitter up, our shortstop will stand between the pitcher and third base. And pitchers will try to throw front door curveball, so inside curveballs. If it's right-handed pitcher on right-handed hitter and left-handed pitcher on left-handed hitter, okay? If that's not the case, we're going to go to something different. All right, so number 4, bring an outfielder to the infield. You may have to listen to this twice. So if it's righty on righty or lefty on lefty, the 2 remaining outfielders play pull side. If it's righty on lefty or lefty on righty, then the 2 remaining outfielders play outfield away. So center field and right field if it's a right-handed hitter with a left-handed pitcher pitching. Additionally, that outfielder that's coming to the infield will be playing pull side between the pitcher and the corner infielder. Okay? So if it's a left-handed pitcher up with a right-handed hitter up, the left-handed pitcher is throwing low and away. The outfielder that's coming to the infield is playing pull side between the pitcher and third base. And that's how we approach that situation. Okay? Let's move on to 5. Lastly, hit the batter. Okay, so this happens if they're not doing a safety squeeze, if they decide to go with a suicide squeeze, and this typically happens with left-handed pitchers. When you're in leg lift, if the hitter turns to bunt, then you just drill them. Same thing with a right-handed pitcher. Okay, if that runner at third takes off when you're in leg lift and the hitter starts to turn to bunt, just drill the hitter. Okay, we'll put him on first and we'll try to create a double play. And again, you can't do this if the bases are loaded. Okay. All right, so that caps off lesson 4. And I think it's a good lesson for you guys. Very important for you to know. Very important information. I know these things can be kind of overwhelming even when I was in college. At first, as a freshman, learning the bunt defense plays was really tough. And we didn't have a coach that provided a video, so it made it much tougher. So I think this is going to help a lot. So there you go. All right. Update on individual practices. I think we're going to start practicing during February vacation. I'm presuming most of you are not going on trips and stuff, so it's going to be great to get away from school. It's going to be good to get away from the academics, but you'll probably be bored and you'll probably want to hang out with friends responsibly, and I think this is an opportunity to do it. So be smart out there, do the right things, and as far as this lesson is concerned, look it over and over and over, and then go back to all the other lessons when you have free time. Okay, important information. All right, Warriors, see you when I see you. Our way.